Hi, everybody. Let's see. Okay. Let's see. Perfect.
Hey,
Hi.
how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great. Let me fix me real quick.
Okay.
Okay, sorry, my son just locked himself in the room.
Do what you need to do.
A second.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I am back.
Okay. Perfect. All righty. So we're gonna get started. So I'm gonna do the introduction, and I'm gonna let you introduce yourself, and then we'll go from there. So my name is Danielle Nicole, and I am the founder of Tiny Hearts Remember Inc. nonprofit organization. Our mission is to decrease the negative impact of pregnancy and infant loss through support programs, education, advocacy in the community. So with that, we do have this program. It's called our Tiny Hearts Share program. So with that, we allow women like yourself to come on our platform and share your stories and just show people that they are not the only ones that have gone through a pregnancy or infant loss. So today's guest is Holly. Is it Sisa?
Sisa.
Sisa. Okay, Holly Sisa. Can you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hi, y'all. So my name is Holly. I'm just freshly 30, baby. And I'm a mom of two toddlers, a 3-year-old girl named Serenity and a 2-year boy named Sincere. And I'm just coming on here to just, encourage. So,
Alrighty. Thank you for sharing that. So can you just tell us a little bit about your lost journey and how you became an angel mama?
oh, so I became an angel mom July 31st, 2008.
Okay.
I was 15 years old, and I'm actually not afraid to tell my story because this is a long time ago. I was in the streets when I was a teenager, disobedient, didn't care about what my parents had to say, got pregnant. Um, Gave birth to my daughter July 17th of '08, and she passed away 2 weeks later. Um, she was drowned, and yeah, it's not really something you get over. Um, been
Right.
almost 15 years, and I just like, for example, her 14th birthday was July of last year, and I had to think back. I was pregnant with her when I was 14, and it brought some waterworks, and it still does.
Mm-hmm.
But um, my other two children keep me going, and that makes it easier to talk about, not easier to deal with.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that was my first one.
Okay. And you said
On January,
you said she was 2 weeks when this happened, when she passed.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
yeah, me too. But like I said, it gets easier to talk about, but not easier to deal with. But so about a year and a half later, January 7th of 2010, age 17, didn't learn. I had a stillborn son. Um, DNCs are not fun to do. They just remove the baby and you still have to push out. Um, I went through all that before I was 18.
So during that time, take your time.
Go ahead.
Take your time.
Yeah. Uh, yeah. Just I should I should have a almost 13-year-old boy and a 14-year-old girl. And I don't. So, but I'm stronger because of it. So, yeah.
It's okay. Allow yourself to feel all of these feelings that you're feeling. You have people here that are supporting you, that are here with you. You're not on this journey alone, and we're here to remember your children with you.
Thank you. After my stillborn, I had several miscarriages after that. Several. And that's because I didn't know I had PCOS, and I really want to bring awareness to polycystic ovarian syndrome, if I may. So when you have polycystic ovarian syndrome, PCOS, you have like ingrown hairs, you have cysts on your ovaries, sometimes in your uterus, and sometimes it affects your infertility. Now, when I was diagnosed in November of 2014, I heard them say it was going to be harder to have children, like harder to have children. I heard them say I wasn't going to have children at all. That's what I heard. But that's not what they said. But that was my perception of what I heard.
Mm-hmm.
So from 2014 November until the end of 2018, it was just 4 years of anger, jealousy towards other women that were conceiving and having their children, not knowing if this was ever going to happen for me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have two younger sisters who have kids, and they had kids like after I lost my two kids. So it was hard for me to watch my sisters become mothers when that was taken from me.
Mm-hmm.
So I had a sense of like jealousy towards my sisters too, which was really odd. But I love my nieces and nephews,
Mm-hmm.
and they know that. But it was just really, really hard for me to, because I just kept seeing like girls younger than me having babies, and you know they were just not really in like good spaces like how I was when I was 14, and it just made me so angry. But it was finally on my 26th birthday, December 3rd, 2018, when I finally said, you know what, God, if I'm meant to have a baby, then it'll happen. I gave it to Him completely, forgot about the subject. 3 months later, I was pregnant.
So that was in 2019? You found out you were pregnant in 2019?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes. And I was overjoyed and really, really, really excited. And I was scared, though. I was having twins. And I was scared that I was going to lose one of the babies. And my fear came true. I lost one of the twins at 12 weeks. Hurt me to my core. Got out of social media for a while. It brought me back to the past again, and it was just, but I stayed strong because I had one more in there, and she came 5 weeks early on November 30th of 2019, and here she is about to be 4 this year. So
yes, you're a rainbow baby.
And then I had another one after that. I was pregnant after my 6-week appointment, and my son was born September 17th of 2020. So this is just to give you ladies hope. There goes the little Dickens herself. Go back in the room, please. But it just I just want to give other ladies hope. If I'm not like overstepping my boundaries a little bit.
The floor is yours. This is all about you and your angel babies and your living babies.
I just want to give other women hope. For those who've experienced infant loss, whether it was a stillborn, SIDS in the womb, or God forbid something tragic like mine. It will happen for you. Just have to. It's a lot of people think that it's because it's not happening on their time that it's not going to happen. That's what I had to realize. Like, I thought my clock was ticking because I had cyst on my ovaries, diabetes, sleep apnea, and all this other stuff. I thought, oh, okay, with all these health problems, am I ever going to have a successful pregnancy or anything like that? You guys can, because I did. It was stressful pregnancies for sure, because my second one was during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, but it's doable. You guys can do it. Here she is.
Hi. I only see like half a face and like an eyeball. So I really appreciate you sharing everything that you share with us this evening. I never know what to expect when moms come on here, because I feel like every story is different, but it's like sometimes I'm like, oh, this one really, it's like every single story, all of our stories are very different, and they all hurt the same. No matter what stage, no matter how far along we were, they all still hurt. And being able to come on a platform and share with the world that you're hurting, I commend you for that. Your babies are proud of you. This is your way of letting people know they matter. Past, present, and future, they matter. What you went through, it matters. We need to talk about it.
Is there? Go ahead. Sorry. I did not mean to cut you off. I was feeling what you were saying, and it just.
Go ahead.
I guess, like with situations like this, right? People like forget the fathers as well, who also lose the kids.
Mm-hmm.
My good father was really, really upset when we lost the twin. Because his mom died the same year I was pregnant with my daughter, so it was just a lot of emotions. She died when I was 6 months pregnant.
That's a lot.
I don't know. In my lifetime, I just never thought that something like that would happen. Like, she was so excited to meet her granddaughter, and then that changed.
Mm-hmm. I think it's definitely one of those things where we, like, this is the only outcome we want to look at, is bringing life. We don't think about that other because of that. Like, oh, it can't happen to me, or I would have never even thought anything like that would happen to me. And then when it happens, it's like, I don't like this. I don't like what's happening. I don't like what has happened. I don't like the way that I feel. I don't like any of that. And every situation is different. So with that, what did your support system look like starting at the age of 15? What was that support all the way across the board?
Horrible. After I lost my daughter, the high school I went to tried to give me a counselor. That first session was horrible. That lady, she came in there with her little board, with her papers, and was just writing stuff. Didn't seem like she gave a damn about what I was talking about. So I walked out. Never tried therapy after that for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got, well, I have to advocate for this too. I was in a domestic violence relationship as well, back in 2017, and my ex tried to kill me. And so I started going to counseling that was recommended by the city where I'm at. And it was the first time I actually had like therapy and was able to talk about like my daughter and then going through the abuse I went through with my ex. And I was really mad because it was like it was court mandated for a little bit and then it ended and couldn't see the lady anymore and it just was really disappointing. And that's another thing that is really disappointing when you're trying to find like that good therapist who you can actually finally start to heal from these things. That's a really, really hard thing. I've had a few good therapists, but because they were going through like a schooling program, they had to rotate every, so often, and I didn't like that, and so I tried to find like a black therapist too. There's not, I mean, I haven't found one yet, but any of those that take Medicaid, because I have Medicaid, and it's just really, really disappointing that I want to find a therapist that can relate to me, in that aspect a little bit, but they're all, self-pay or they don't take Medicaid, and that's not fair for us who, just because we have Medicaid, that doesn't make us like a statistic.
Right.
So it's really, really hard because I want to heal from past traumas, I'm still healing from a miscarriage I had a few days before my 29th birthday. I had a miscarriage a year or so ago. So still trying to heal from that because the father of that miscarriage put me through a lot too. So it's trying to find a therapist and trying to heal from it, and you're trying to work within yourself first. And yeah, it's not easy. And then I have African parents, and trying to get help while there's like a cultural difference is also a huge thing. Obviously, they weren't too happy that I had a baby. Obviously, they were sad when I lost my baby, but there was no support there. And that's the thing I want to change for my kids. Like, I want to be able to support them if they want to go to therapy, like, yes, let's go. Do you want me to go with you? If they need some kind of help in something and they're not able to do it, yes, mama's going to be there. Got to change it. We got to break these generational curses, too. Because a lot of people don't believe in therapy, and therapy is a good thing. You just got to find that right one. I don't want people to be stuck in limbo. Like, oh, I had this tremendous loss. I don't know where to go from here. I'm stuck. I don't want people to be like that anymore. I want people to know that there is help available. So you can become that better you, because you deserve to be better.
Yes. With that, can you share just a little bit more about losing your babies, but then also having living children as well? Because sometimes it's very hard doing both because no baby is a replacement. So can you share a little bit about that? Maybe like how you were able to navigate loving your angel babies and also your living children. How was that experience, or how is that experience?
It's hard. Because you want your angel babies to be walking and talking and doing stuff with your living children, but they can't. Sometimes when like my kids are playing outside, I'll just like envision their older siblings playing with them, and it's the imagine of what if. I don't know. It's the what ifs that keep you down, though. So I try not to. I try not to. I try not to think about the what ifs, but I'm human, so the what ifs come up a lot.
Take your time.
But I try. So my kids are young. They're only 3 and 2, so they don't know too much about anything. But when they get older, they're gonna ask, and I'll just tell them that for my daughter, I'll be like, your sister sent you here to make me happy. And then I'll tell my son, hey, your brother sent you here to make me happy, just to keep them enlightened, and so they're not sad about people they never met.
It's hard.
Yeah, what's even harder about a child loss is when the father doesn't care.
Yep.
Yeah. My daughter's father, my oldest daughter's father, denied her even till today. That wasn't his child. Cool, fine. I dealt with that. I'm dealing with that grief by myself anyway. Whatever. My son's father finally gave me an apology 7 years ago, and he meant it, and I forgave him. So that loss is a little bit. It's still hard, but it's a lot easier to deal with because I actually got closure, even though realistically you're not always going to get closure, right? But I was able to get closure at least for one thing, so that helps me move on with everything else. So.
And you mentioned moving on. What does that look like for you? Because sometimes I think angel mamas are afraid to move on because they think that they're forgetting their angel baby. So here at Tiny Hearts, we encourage and we always let angel mamas know that just because you're choosing to heal, that doesn't mean that you are forgetting your baby. So what does that look like for you?
Have you ever seen like those images where people like it's a whole bunch of lines and then like scribbles and like letters, numbers? It's like that. Because you're like trying to gather all your thoughts and trying to make sure like, hey, like make sure that you're doing the healing here, but then the thoughts go here, and then making sure your angel baby or rainbow babies are doing this, and then there's just all this, and it's just a whole bunch of this. It is a long journey, but it's doable. And you gotta work at it every day. Because at the end of the day, you do have your angels watching over you, and you want to make sure you're doing good for them. Gotta make sure you're doing good for them, because they wouldn't want to see their mom hurting. They wouldn't want to see their mom cry either. So we have to do the work to make sure that we're not disappointing them, even though we want them here.
I agree. I couldn't agree with you more with that. But we have women who don't know where to even start to work through that. So can you give us some examples on what other women who may not be ready, or they may not know what exactly to do to work through that?
What I'm going to say to you, to those women, is take your time. Don't let anyone try to force you to grieve quickly or slowly or in the middle. Your grieving process is your own grieving process. The only thing I'm going to say is make sure you're just taking the steps to make sure that you are processing that grief healthily, with health, because you're taking care of your mental health, your physical health, your emotional health. Baby steps. You got to baby steps this. You cannot take giant steps when it comes to something like this, because if you take a giant step and end up in the mud, you're going to be crying, like me. Like, you don't want mud on your face, if that makes sense. Got to take baby steps. If you got to cry it out, do that. You're human. Making sure that you're taking those steps to make sure that you're moving in the positive direction and not lingering. Because a lot of people end up lingering. I know I lingered for a while. Sat here wondering and asking myself, like, why did this happen to me? Why does so-and-so have their kid? Why don't I have mine? You don't want those to eat you alive. If I can, I'm gonna share this because I feel like this is a safe space to share it, and it happened a long time. I used to be suicidal about this. It was December of 2017. I tried to have a home hysterectomy.
Mm-hmm.
I took a knife and tried to cut open my own uterus because I just thought, what is the point?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then luckily my friend came over and saved me and comforted me and told me that, hey, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Like, if you do that, you're never going to have kids now. Like, so, just encouraging me that that was not the right thing to do. So
Mm-hmm.
thankfully I was still in therapy then. So I was able to get through that, but that was hard. I don't want women to go through that.
Mm-hmm.
Please, please take care of yourselves. Please, just don't let it consume you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, thank you for feeling comfortable enough to share that, because a lot of women have those suicidal thoughts when something like this happens. So don't think you're the only one. You're not, unfortunately, but someone needed to hear that, to know that they're not alone. And you being on here to share all the details about your story is going to help somebody. We didn't talk about it, but especially with you being a Black woman, how was that relationship like with your providers? So your health providers, the doctors and nurses. How was that experience?
Wait, you got a minute? Um, yeah, so that's actually one of the things that I'm actually fighting for here in my state. Um, for some reason, Black women don't get, they're not heard. I want to say it like that. They're not really heard when it comes to certain like medical decisions and stuff like that. Especially if you have like Medicaid or low income and or can't afford it. There's like I don't know if it's a stigma or I don't really know what it is like in the healthcare industry where just Black women were just not heard, or like our opinions don't really matter when it comes to certain like health decisions. And it happened to me when I was pregnant initially with the twins. I had a provider. It just seemed like she really didn't care about what I had to say about like the health of my children, because I was concerned because I was high risk, diabetic and twins.
Mm-hmm.
And she kind of just brushed it off, had a little attitude about it. And I was really, really uncomfortable. I was just like, okay, so because I have a concern about, my kids having this or my kids having this, that you just blow me off. So I had to find a whole new provider. What was it? I think after 8 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
It was just
Mm-hmm.
ridiculous.
And I like how you shared that you went to go find a new provider, because I think sometimes when women are pregnant, they're kind of nervous to switch providers, or they don't know if they can or if they should. So at what point do you think, if you could give 3 tips to a mom who may have an OB that's not listening to them, just so we can try to prevent these high rates of infant mortality as well, what 3 pieces of advice would you give her?
If you have the strength to leave your provider, leave. Find someone though to listen to what you have to say, because at the end of the day, that's your body, and you're the
Mm-hmm.
one that's your child. They're not. Okay, that would be number one. Number two, I mean, most just ties in with number one. Like you have to use your voice. You cannot be afraid to make health decisions for yourself, because at the end of the day, those doctors aren't going home with you. They don't know what's going to happen. They don't know what happens to you in your sleep. They don't know what fetal movements are going to happen like during the night. If you're going to have night sweats, they don't know what goes on at your home. So just having that courage to be like, hey, put your foot down is the big thing. Just put your foot down and be like, hey, if you're not going to listen to what I have to say,
Mm-hmm.
damn it, I'm going to find somebody that will.
Yep.
And they will kick rocks. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's just that.
Mm-hmm.
We were blessed with voices for a reason. We're supposed to use them. And if somebody doesn't like what we have to say, on to the next.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So with that, when you were going through your losses, were you able to ask them that questions? Were they able to provide you clarity, or was it like, oh, you lost your baby, okay, go home and just come back here so we could check your blood work? How was that process afterwards with them?
You know, a lot of them after my DNC, that one, they were really like nonchalant. It seemed like they didn't give a care. That's the perfect way to say that. They put me on birth control, and they tried to like regulate like my flow and everything, and that was that. They're like, well, Miss C said, they're like, whenever you're ready, we'll take this out and you can get pregnant right away. And I'm like, but what is this? What is this doing? How is this regulating me?
Yeah.
And sorry,
No,
as you can hear, both of my
you're
toddlers
fine.
have just decided to say hello, but I need to, hi guys. And a lot of them, like, I started getting like fertility treatment, and it just seemed like even the specialist I was going to really didn't care about what I really wanted. I was trying to get him to, because I was doing my research before I started doing finding specialists. Specialists. That was a tongue twister for me. I don't know why. And I was like, oh, I want to go on this medication because I know this is fertility. It'll help with my cysts. But no, they wanted me to take metformin because I was diabetic, and that would have helped. But I read that if it would have been like a metformin and Clomid together, it would have helped. But I conceived this young one, well, the twins, I conceived them naturally, so I didn't need it. It was just a timing thing. Yeah, just like I said, if you have like a nonchalant provider, just no. If you have a nonchalant provider, just like I said, voice your opinion and or get a new one that will be fine. Like I said, being a Black woman, and there's all these horror stories. Excuse me. These horror stories of women that Sincere, why you? Hi, mommy. Okay, they see you.
Bye.
Bye. Where was I at? Now my kids.
No, you're fine. You were talking about just if their health provider isn't listening to them, to just go and get a different health provider. They have that right to.
Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. But that's the insurance thing. Just because you don't have private insurance, that doesn't mean you can't demand what's good for you. Like I said, this is a country of freedom. If you're having issues, say something. We deserve that, especially moms who have experienced loss in the utero. You don't want to experience that again. So make sure you have a doctor that knows your history, and if not, find one that wants to know your history.
I like that. I like that part. A provider that actually wants to know, and not, because every woman's body is different. Every woman's health history is different, and sometimes you can't just go by the book. Like, you need to know me. You need to know what my body has actually gone through on its own, naturally, or other cases that have happened. So I definitely like that statement as well. Before we go, though, is there anything that you would like to share with the community for those who don't know what we go through? Hi, pretty kids. What would you like to share with those who don't know what we deal with on a daily basis as Angel Mama? What advice would you give to them?
Okay, so the question is, give advice to people that don't know what Angel Moms go through, right? Don't judge the woman because you don't know what the woman's been through.
Yes, I like that.
A lot of people, for some reason, are so quick to be like, we know you lost your kid a long time ago. Get over it. I've had that a few times. They're like, oh, you're still young. You'll have another one. Like it took me 11 years to have another child. So, people were just very, very insensitive. I mean, I understand, like, people don't always have to agree with you, but have a sense of humanity for another woman, another human.
I agree, because I'm sure. What are some statements, just I know I said that was the last question, but what are some statements that people have said to you?
Oh, Holly, you're still young. You'll have another one. Don't worry too much about it. Live your life. One will come. Had I made better choices, my daughter would be alive. Why is it taking you so long to have another child? Yeah.
That's something I'm never going to be able to wrap my head around. Just the and the more women come and share their stories, it's like the more the statements are just like, I can't believe that. Like, why do people think that it's okay to say those comments? I was having a conversation earlier with someone about this. Like, why? Why do you think that what you just said to me is okay? And then if I react, then I'm in the wrong. That's like us saying to someone that has 3 children, which child do you want to give up? You'll never be able to see them again. Pick one. Because that's what we're forced. When we lose our babies, we're forced to never see our babies again. We miss those milestones. We don't get to decorate the Christmas tree with them and see them unwrap presents. We don't get that. We don't get to have the one in the cake and balloons and see them blow out a candle. We don't get that, and that's not our choice.
Go, your sister.
So when people make those type of statements, it's just, I just don't understand.
I don't know. I don't know what's wrong with, like, certain human beings, but some people are evil, and some people are uneducated. So I just leave that ignorance behind and move forward.
And moving forward in a healthy way, like we were sharing earlier, can you just give some tips on how other angel mamas can move forward in a healthy way, or how you remember your angel babies? Just because sometimes women don't know, like, okay, I lost my baby, but how can I remember them? I don't really know. I know I want to do something, but I don't know what I want to do. What are some ideas or things that you may do?
So actually this year, for her 15th, well, would have been her 15th birthday, I actually plan on doing yoga at where I spread her ashes at the reservoir, and bring, like, other angel moms together to help with, like, the yoga, and then we honor my baby and we honor their babies. And previous years I just go there on her birthday and sit at the reservoir.
I never thought about that. I think when it's all about perspective, and I will say one thing that I love to hear. Number one, we didn't ask to be a part of this club, but unfortunately we're all in this club together. But we are creative we are creative with the creative ideas and the ways that we choose to remember our babies. So thank you for being able to share that. Is there anything else, any advice that you would like to share to those that are watching and those that will watch the replay later?
Stay strong, ladies. You guys are not alone. Like Michael Jackson said, you are not alone. I am here with you. I know I'm probably far away, but one thing is I'm here to stay. Just know that you guys have an ally in this thing called life that we have to continue moving forward with. Also use Tiny Heart as a reference too. Know that those ladies have a story to tell as well. And let's push forward because we have to.
Yes. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much for coming on here this evening. I think it's a little earlier where you are. It's dark over here in Ohio, where I am. So I really appreciate you taking the time to come on here and share your story. But we also want to support you as well. So for those that are watching, would you be able to share how they can get in contact with you or anything that you're doing? We would like to support you.
So I have a podcast called Morning Mimosas, which I will be premiering on February 4th. So you guys can follow us on Facebook, Morning Mimosas Colorado on Facebook, Morning Mimosas CEO on Instagram. Of course, you guys can follow me, Hanaya the Goddess, Holly, on Instagram, and then, of course, my real name on Facebook. I'm kind of funny, so I can help brighten up somebody's darkness. So just follow me. We have a lot of good things going. Tiny Hearts will definitely be shouted out on my podcast multiple times because what you guys are doing is amazing. It's truly amazing. We need more things like this. There's not a lot. Because a lot of people avoid this subject, which I understand why, but it needs to be talked about.
I agree. Thank you so much. I will be sure to tag you in the video when it's saved, and then you can tag like your Instagram pages and those type of things so we can connect with you and everyone can connect with you. And Holly, once again, I want to say thank you. Thank you for coming on here this evening. Thank you for giving us an insight to your journey and what to tolerate, not to tolerate, and giving other angel mamas hope and those that may want to go on to having living children as well. So thank you
so much for having me on here. Thank you so much for letting me tell my story, and I hope if I just touch one person, I feel like I did something. So
that's all we need to do. One person, it'll make a difference. So like always, if you need anything, feel free to send us a message. We email back and forth, so we stuck together now. So we will definitely be in communication. Everyone that's watching, please make sure if you're just joining in, go back and watch it from the beginning. Holly shared some very powerful information and details about her story, along with certain things you should and should not do when you are experiencing a loss. So be sure that you go back and watch it, and also follow her and support her with all of her other endeavors. Holly, so here at Tiny Hearts Remember, we say thank you, and then we will also continue to remember your babies with you and everyone else that loves them, along with your living children. All righty. See everybody later, and together